Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Love All. Really, really exciting episode. We get to talk to Ajla Tomljanovic today and see what she's up to. But first, Blair, tell me a little bit about where you're at. You're in Dallas at home, but you're also working. So what are you up to?
That's right. I live in Fort Worth. This week I am working in Dallas, which everybody's like, it's a home tournament. I'm like, it is, which is amazing. I get to take my kids to school in the morning, but it's just far enough away that it makes the commute a huge pain in the butt. But this is one of my—
How long is it from home?
Like 52 minutes we'll go with, but it's such a gift to be able to see my girls in the morning.
Sleep in your own bed too.
Sleep in my own bed.
Right.
And this is one of my favorite weeks of the year. It is so much fun. The event has, in 5 years, gone from a 250 at SMU, which was wonderful. But now we are at the Dallas Cowboys practice facility. You have these unbelievable practice courts. There's
So cool,
great
yeah.
fan access to the players. And the draw has really grown as well in terms of degree of difficulty. I mean, top seeds, Fritz Shelton, Alejandro Davidovich-Fokina, Kaboli, Tommy Paul, Lerner Tien, Denis Shapovalov, who won last year, and Francis Tiafoe. So really great. Yesterday, we had an unbelievable doubles match, Ben Shelton and Alex Kovacevic, which, quick side note, Ben crowdsourced his doubles partner here. I don't know if you saw that, Kim, on his Instagram stories. He's like, who wants to play doubles? Hit me up. I asked Ben, like, how many applicants did you get? It was in the hundreds. He said, next time I probably should put like a rankings limit. I was like, yes, Ben. I almost applied to be Ben Shelton's doubles partner here. But he and Alex beat Grigor Dimitrov and an SMU student, Georgi Georgiev, another Bulgarian. They grew up in the same hometown. Grigor's father trained Georgiev, and Grigor is besties with the SMU head coach Grant Chen, and so that's how they all ended up together. So there's great doubles as well. I can't say enough good things about what the tournament has become. And then prior to the actual main draw, we had
the biggest doubles match.
The biggest doubles match maybe of 2026. It was the All-American Classic. So we had John Isner and John McEnroe facing off against Sam Querrey and Andy Roddick. It was the best time. I am reminded every time John McEnroe steps on a tennis court of how good he still is. Absolutely. Because I saw Sam Querrey in Australia in full tennis gear. I was like, what you doing? He's like, I'm going to hit. And I said, with whom? He said, with Johnny Mac. And I said, is he in training for Dallas? And he said, yes, that's exactly what he's doing. So yes, he is still in great shape. He is still so good with his hands. I mean, what I would do for the volleys, it was incredible. But also the star power. I talked to multiple people, and of course Andy as well. But I mean, people like come out to see John McEnroe. Even younger people still know who he is. He has just managed to stay relevant over multiple generations, which is really incredible. And the tennis was great as well. Andy, dropped some podcast. What do we want to call it? Trash talk is too strong of a word, but we did get there in the end. I'm like, are we going to go there?
Stabs, like little.
Are we going to get into podcast wars here? And we did in the post match interview, which
who
who
won the podcast war?
You know what? I think Sam and John were like, you know what, Andy, we're going to let you take this one. But he did say that nothing major. He said, it's so cute. We could fit it in my pocket. And then there was banter after that. We just had the best time. And to know that people are potentially coming out who've never seen tennis before, it's just really fun. I know that sounds so cheesy, but I'm like, if somebody comes here for the first time and realizes that watching professional tennis is not, golf clapping at a country club, that can potentially make fans for life. So excited to be in Dallas. I have a few quick headlines because Kim has a doctor's appointment she cannot miss today. So I'm going to run through the headlines, Kim. You can pick out anything that sticks out to you. Qualifier Sarah Balick at Abu Dhabi. She came through, won the tournament, stands 5'2", another young Czech player to keep an eye on. I mean, unbelievable. I'm going to keep going and then you can have your thoughts on that. In Ostrava, Katie Bolter defeated Tammy Korpach in 3 sets, a big win for Bolter, who was outside the top 100. She's now back in. In Cluj, 35-year-old Sorana Cîrstea in her farewell year gets a title in Romania, in her own country. Like, what a incredible moment for her. Vera Zvonareva, 41 years old, qualified and won her first round match against Peyton Stearns in Doha. She won that tournament 15 years ago. I mean, like, my head is exploding.
Doubles, right? But now to do it in singles, right?
Has also been playing doubles with Lara Siegemund. Shout out Peyton Stearns, who I absolutely love, who also she's been sort of the comeback victim. She lost to Venus Williams in DC this summer, and then has to face Vera Zvonareva again, who's recovering from surgery in 2024, and said as long as she's having fun, she's gonna keep playing. So lots happening. Anything stick out to you, Kim?
Yeah, I mean, to me, in Abu Dhabi, just kind of seeing the semifinal draw there was fun. So seeing some of the youngsters, right? Clara Townsend in the semifinal, the American Haley Baptiste made it to the semis, and then Sandra Beliek, right? Is that how we say it?
Balick is how
Balick.
Unclear. We don't. I know this comes as a shock to you, Kim. We do not yet have a pronunciation guide on the WTA website.
5'2", which is 157 centimeters, 1.57 meters. Incredible. And I started thinking about some of the shorter players that I played. And, Justine was shorter, but she wasn't that short. And then you had Cibulkova. And then I thought back about my first Wimbledon that I qualified on the women's tour. And I got to play Amanda Kutzer in the 3rd round. And I looked up her height and I saw that she was 5'2". So I was like, oh, no way. So yeah, it just shows, right, that in a world of tennis where, players are getting taller and stronger, and the serve is becoming a huge weapon, that you have players like her who can win big tournaments and can be really good players as well. And what really stuck out for me was, obviously her movement is incredible. The way that she's able to kind of retrieve shots and always bring that 1 or 2 balls back and make her opponents doubt and make them make the mistake. But it's also from 1 meter, 2 meters behind the baseline, the angles that she's able to create. She has a touch for she has a feel for the court size that she uses all the different angles, and she can hit the lob, she can hit the slices, the forehand slice, she used drop shots. Really nice to see that variety. So enjoyed watching her play. So that is a kind of a new, another name that comes from the Czech tennis world, right? It's amazing. To me,
every week.
Yeah, I feel like nobody talks enough, a lot. I mean, the federations that own a Grand Slam get spoken about a lot, but when you talk about the tennis impact that a federation has had, and if you look at the Czech Women's Tennis Federation has been just producing players after player, and as we speak, there's the under 14s happening in France, and you see the new upcoming Czech players there, and it's just they just keep coming, and it's like in a factory, right? When they just keep creating and building them, and so very, very impressive. To see her result, and we'll draw a lot of attention now with that win from the outside world, and people will keep having their eye on her.
For sure. One of many to keep an eye on.
Cîrstea, exciting. To me, that was a really exciting win to see. Emma Raducanu, I think we mentioned it, right? She made a final after, her coach split up, right? So, but Cîrstea, to be able to play some really good tennis, she was playing well in Australia. She was playing and played well in her home tournament has to be a really good feeling. So I'm curious to see if this will, create a little bit of a momentum switch for her, knowing that this is, when you make up in your mind that this is your last year, a lot of players can maybe play with a little bit less stress, enjoy the life on tour a little bit more as well, and that can kind of help them under pressure and deal with those emotions. So curious to see if she keeps up this level throughout the year, if she will actually hang up her rackets, or if she's I'm on a roll here. Let's keep that going. But she's really exciting. She's a great girl, and exciting to see her playing well.
I cannot wait to see. And as you mentioned, Kim, we have a very special guest joining us today when we come back from the break. She's 32 years old. She's been ranked as high as 32 in the world. She's made 3 major quarterfinals. She's reached 5 WTA finals, and she's one of the kindest, most lovely tennis players on tour. I know we're both lucky enough to know her personally. Ajla Tomljanovic will be with us after the break.
So I'm really, really excited today to have Ajla Tomljanovic on the podcast, on the Level podcast. Ajla, what have you been up to since the Australian Open? I know you're back in Boca. Like, how long have you been home? When did you leave Melbourne?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I'm very excited. I'm a fan of the pod, so very honored to be a guest. But I was in Abu Dhabi after Melbourne, and I didn't really feel well. Got a bit sick, and decided to pull the plug on that swing, just because I've never done well there, and I just thought 2026 I'm going to change that, and I didn't. So I was like, you know what, my gut was right. I'm going to go back home, train, and get ready for Austin in the U.S. swing.
Right, and it's important, right? That lesson of like listening to your gut and kind of going against what some people around you are saying, and just sticking through to your own thoughts and feelings is sometimes more powerful than anything. Because you didn't play that many tournaments leading up to the Australian Open. You just played some doubles, right?
No. I played Brisbane and Adelaide, which it's been a while since I've done both of those, and I was actually really happy going in. But then I sort of injured my pec in the second round of Adelaide, which was a bit scary because initially I felt like it was really bad, and then once I got to Melbourne, it wasn't as bad as I thought. There was no tear; it was just a strain, and with the pec, I've had those issues before, and it's just really scary. You don't trust it. And it's one of those, if I can choose anywhere not to be injured, it would be in Australia. So it was a bit stressful, but I was really happy how I sort of handled it, just going into the first round, and played 2 good matches. Yeah.
So explain a little bit how that, the timing of that, right? When the week before, or, the timing of having a little issue that can potentially become worse if you really push through it, and what did that look like for you, during those days that you had off before you started your first round match? What does that look like? Did you go to Melbourne right away? Did you do you travel with your own trainer? Do you guys focus on that yourself then? Do you work with the WTA staff? How did you approach that?
Yeah, I pretty much went straight after. I played on a Tuesday night, and then Wednesday morning I was like, I got to get to Melbourne quickly, because I work with the S&C from Tennis Australia and the physios, and they've, helped me so much. So they kind of created a program. They gave me specific instructions what to do on court, the load, and we actually just started serving Saturday, and I played on Monday. And we built up from the gym with rehab, with strength. And, it was the least amount of work on the table. It was more about just getting that muscle stronger without kind of aggravating it. And it's really just about trusting them, because I'm every day today, can we do more? Can we do more? Because you want to get as ready as possible, but you don't want to push it. So it's that fine line of really just staying calm and hoping for the latest start possible.
And then once you start, was it still in your head a little bit? I need to be a little bit cautious, or are you then all in and ready to go? Do you feel confident, or are you just a little bit tentative?
I was cautious in the practices, but I had the mentality, if I'm stepping on the court, I'm going to go full out, meaning even if it gets a bit worse, it's worth it for me at this stage in my career. The slams, especially at home, are what I really play for. And I definitely took a few ibuprofens just for the courage. But I think we just did a really good job leading in, and actually didn't make it worse at all.
Good to hear.
Yeah. I want to follow up on that. You provided us with the perfect segue, because playing at the Australian Open as an Australian must be the coolest experience. But what some people may not know about you is you were born in Croatia. You shifted over to Australian nationality, I think it was about 2018. What is it like to play in Australia under the Australian flag? Is that fun?
Yeah, I know. It's people still get a bit confused, but you know what? For me, as soon as I had AUS behind my name, I really felt connected. They've embraced me from the get-go. And I think also having played a lot of Billie Jean King Cup ties, being now part of two Olympics, for me, it just feels very normal and I couldn't see it any other way. And I know to some, it still maybe looks silly, but to me, it feels so natural and I absolutely love it. I mean, there's a bit of added pressure, but it's good. Like, I don't feel, we've had we've had players that are in a way much better than me going into the AO. And I never felt like I had to carry something on my shoulders. I always felt like I just wanted to do well for myself and for everyone cheering for me. So for me, it's a really good balance of just enjoying to play there. Because when they get behind you, I mean, I think even players that aren't Australian, when they get the crowd behind them, they say it's one of the best to play in front of.
I was about to say, like, I felt like when I played back in the day, like, my nickname was like Aussie Kim, right? And I was like, I really don't deserve this, but I'll take it. Thank you for all the support. And I feel like the Australian crowd is a really good crowd. Like, they love their sports. And so if you embrace them, they'll embrace you right back. And I think that mutual respect is what they really have. So
yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Citizenships?
So I got like my sort of like, let's say, residency when I was about 23. And in the slams, I could play under the Aussie flag, but then in WTA, I couldn't. So that was a bit confusing for people. So I think once I like turned 25 is when I was cleared to play Billie Jean King Cup and I got my passport. So then I could represent Australia in all the, tournaments. So pretty much like 7-8 years ago.
And is that for you and the whole family, or is like your dad, or just you?
Me.
Really?
I'm the only lucky one.
I was curious about that. I was like, okay.
Because Ajla, that's sort of been in the headlines. We've seen Daria Kasatkina shift to Australia, Anastasia Potapova shifting to Austrian nationality citizenship. How does that process work?
Yeah, it's a bit different. Like, I feel like Dasha had it a bit quicker than me, maybe because of all the reasons surrounding, everything with having represented Russia before. So for me, it was a bit of a process. Like, I think I waited a good 3-4 years for the residency, and I spent a lot of time leading up to it in Brisbane, which I absolutely loved. And then it took me about maybe 4 or 5 years, which, I mean, I think for a regular person isn't a long time. But when you really want to represent someone and you start the process, I got impatient.
You need a little bit of, if you see Dasha, and she sounds very Australian now. So you still have an American kind of accent in your.
You know what? I said it's better to just embrace whatever accent I have now than to try to fake it.
That's true. That's true. My kids get it all the time, like from their classmates and stuff. They're like, "Why does your mom sound different than us?" I'm like, I guess I could still hear that I, have that whatever European English accent somewhere in there.
Well, I love that we sort of mentioned your family a little bit. I have loved getting to see your dad in action. I know you were with your mom in Abu Dhabi. I loved those pictures on Instagram. You're super close with your sister. You have your dog, Cruz. And I specifically want to ask about the relationship with your dad because he's on the court with you a lot. And we've seen many parent-child relationships in tennis maybe not be as healthy looking as your relationship. You guys look like you legitimately have the best time. And I wonder what the secret to that has been for you.
Yeah, I think the first thing is that we've always, that was my dad's job. He always sort of prioritized our relationship as father and daughter. So even when we had disagreements, that was always the priority. It was never so much about the tennis. So let's say if I was disrespectful, no matter if I won the match, there was a problem that we had to address. So it didn't happen often, but in any healthy relationship, it's going to come up, especially in sports when tensions are high. But I think also the fact that growing up, my dad always had coaches provided for me. So he was never so close to me where, that friction can happen. And he was very smart about that. And also, he was smart enough to know that maybe he he came from team handball. So his knowledge of tennis early on wasn't as good as it is now. So he always provided me with very good coaching. But there were times in my career where, coaches left me and I was in that space of, a couple months not having someone, sometimes even a year, and he would jump in and it would work for a period of time. But I've always said, like, we work best if there's like this middle person and he can take a step back, take care of my physical stuff, and just be there more as like a parent that really understands me mentally the best. So I even like now I have a coach that I love working with, and he's probably the best coach I've worked with in my career. And I hope, it's the coach I end my career with. But my
Do you want to name drop?
Yes, it's Goran Prpić, and he coached me when I was 11, also when I was 25, and we had a bit of a break. And then I started with him back in May and really brought my love for the game back, because I think after injuries, sometimes it gets really tricky. And you think the love gets lost, but it's actually all the just setbacks and, not winning, really, not being where you want to be. And you think the joy's gone, but it's really about finding the right person, I think, to bring that back. So my dad, when I have a coach, he really has a really great life. He just sits there, enjoys, watches other people.
And he really does enjoy it. Like, I've seen him around, like he goes and watches the tennis, like he's close, like with, he hangs out with other coaches and parents. And like, you can see that he
has more friends than me.
You can just see that he's proud, like he's a proud dad. Right. And that's really nice to see. Like, it's, I've also seen the other side of, a parent coach. And so it's really refreshing. Sad because it should be the norm, but it's, it's really nice to see.
Who made you start playing tennis, Ajla?
So my mom was actually the first tennis player in our family. She stopped when she was about early 20s, not like professionally, but, practiced every day. And I think once my parents met, my dad fell in love with the sport, and my parents would play for fun on the weekends. And I have an older sister. So I was just the younger sibling, always trying to copy my older sister. And I think, being the younger one, no one really paid attention to me early on. So I really had to sort of fight for, like, hey, I'm here and I want to be taken seriously. So I'm actually the one that, like, my parents put me in a group with like kids and they wanted me to socialize. And my sister already had a private coach. And I was like, I want that. So my parents were like, oh my God, we're going to look like psychos giving her a private coach at 8 years old. Like, we're not crazy, but this child wants it. So I was really the one that always kind of pushed my parents to give me more.
It's great. What about Chrissy Evert? Like, she's been in your corner, right? You trained or are still like training at her academy quite often, or like, what is that relationship? Like, what has she meant to you, on a personal level and in your career?
Yeah, I met Chrissy when I was 11, 12, and she really is someone that I really clicked with right away. Just not so much, like, I will be honest, obviously I knew who Chris Evert was, but I didn't know the magnitude of Chris Evert. My dad was a bigger fan than me. And then when we met, it's just like there was a connection on just a human level where we clicked, and we early on when I moved here, she would take me to yoga on the weekends. We would almost have girl time. And she, apart from the tennis, I think we built this foundation of, being very close and being almost like really good friends. Obviously, when I was younger, it was more like almost like a motherly figure, second mom type of thing. She always used to call me her daughter she never had because she has 3 boys. And over the years, I've just been so lucky to have, her in a corner, like as a mentor in a tennis way, but also now it's just, she's like part of my family in a way, and everything I've gone through, she's always there. Maybe not like, on a daily basis, because she also has, a lot going on, but always someone I check in with and see when I come back.
For people, Ajla, who maybe haven't spent as much time around Chrissy, like, she's funny. Can you, like, people might not see that side on commentary, but she's pretty hilarious. Yeah. Would you agree?
She's a savage.
She is
dry, sarcastic, very,
yeah. I mean, she will tell you straight, which I love. Do you know how many times we've had dinners and she would just drop something where everyone would just be silent and I'd just be used to it, like about, if it was someone I was seeing and she wasn't happy with, like, hilarious stuff. And I just love her for that. Like, that's what makes her her. And I think a lot of people don't know that, like you said, because she's professional on camera.
So let's talk a little bit about, some of your results. Like you've had your best results, in one of the biggest tournaments in our tennis world, right, at Wimbledon, and explain a little bit to me like what that feels like to you, like when you get to the grass courts, like what it was like before, and then what it is like now when like, okay, this is a tournament where I assume you feel good, you feel like your tennis, like everything kind of clicks, it falls into place. Explain a little bit about that relationship with Wimbledon.
Yeah, before I made my first quarterfinals, which I think was in 2021, I really didn't enjoy the grass. Like I kept hearing, oh, like you have the best game for this, but it never clicked. I hated the fact that things would happen so quickly, and I felt like I wasn't always in control. And I think it was because I didn't know myself mentally yet, so I couldn't move on quickly. Let's say I get broken or something, I felt like the match was over. And then the just 1 year, I don't know, I felt really good leading up, and I messaged one of my friends, I still remember it, and I was like, I think this is my year where I'm gonna there's gonna be a change like in Wimbledon. And I don't know, like things happen in that, like it was a bit dramatic, I know, like with that Ostapenko match and then Emma retiring. So it was a lot, and it was COVID, it was the bubble. I didn't have my usual entourage there. Of course, my dad was there, but like my mom, my sister. And it just was a bit surreal. And then I got whacked against Ash on center court, which like brought me back
tough,
to it.
Yeah, tough player on grass, right?
Yeah. I love Ash to death, amazing player, but I was one of those that was happy when she retired because I didn't have to face her anymore, because she was just, I didn't know what to do. Like she really made me scratch my head. And I think then coming back next year, there was that sense of belief that I just know kind of what my game on the grass is. And I think once you have that belief, you're such a different player. I could have played the same level, but going into matches where I actually know I can win, makes all the difference, really.
Ajla, on sort of that note, and at this point in your career, what is your belief like, and what do you think you're capable of from now until, the day you decide it's time to move on to something else?
I'm not gonna lie, it goes in waves. I have days where I'm like, oh my God, I can still hang with the best. But then there are days where I'm like, oof, I feel far away. But I think that's just my mind also, being a bit, I guess it's my mind. I don't know. I
think we all have that.
And I think
we all have that. Yeah.
It took me a bit longer maybe than others, even before my injuries. Like I always needed that extra, like, no, you can do it, and I think that's where my dad has always been, in a way, my biggest believer and cheerleader. But I do still believe it's just more now about staying healthy, and having those runs where it makes you believe even more. But also I think being closer sort of to the end than the beginning, I really do appreciate the life I'm living. So I just want to really enjoy it, because I hate some of the years I've sort of wasted not enjoying it and just being so overly concerned about things that don't really matter, which is losing, because there's every other week there's a new opportunity. So I'm just trying to have that headspace and not have regrets once I finish, because I see that a lot in our sport where, I've talked to a few people that have stopped and they're like, oh, I wish I enjoyed it more. And I don't want to be that person.
No. Are you thinking about that moment now? Like, and I get it, like with the injuries and you think like, okay, can I come back from this? Can I get to the level where I want to be? What if I don't get to that level? Like, how long can I maintain that? Like, is that something that plays in your mind? Because I feel like you can have different kind of people, where there's people who think about that and like, to plan kind of, their last few years. And then you have players that, and we've seen it, Danielle Collins, right? Like she was like, I'm retiring. This is my last year. She has good results. And then she decides to add another year. You have Sorana Cîrstea, who's now announced that she's, who knows if she keeps on playing the way that she has been playing these, first few weeks of this year and last year, like maybe she'll add something. Like, do you think about that at all? Like, do you talk about the structure of that? Like how you would like to see your career end? Or are you just like, let's just wait and see how the results go and play it by ear kind of?
I thought about it a lot in the last 2 years, especially, seeing that I almost at one point was like, I don't think I have the level anymore. Like, I don't see myself getting better just because of, I wasn't consistently healthy. I had a bit of pain, and I just saw the level of tennis going up, and I felt like I couldn't catch up. And I ended up, I think that's why I started to just do a bit of more media work and almost like think about what do I like outside of tennis. And it took a bit of pressure off. And once I started like commentating a bit, I was like, no, I still want to be the one I'm commentating about. Like it kind of clicked with me. And I think then starting to work with Goran again, he really brought back that belief. And I actually am very close with Sorana. So the fact that you mentioned her is funny because we talked about this last year a lot. And I was like, I think it was after Europe, I was like, you know what? This is my last year. I just did it in my head. And I spoke to my dad and my team. And I was like, I think this could be potentially it, because if I'm not happy, what's the point? And I just slowly kept coming back. I didn't want to, obviously, I'm never going to be the type to announce something like that, because I think with my personality, I could change my mind the next day. So I'm going to look stupid.
Same.
But
decidophobia over here.
But it really helped me like take every tournament and just enjoy it as if it's my last. And I mean, now after Australia, I was like, Dad, I'm going to make it to LA 28. And he's like, great.
Oh, yay.
So I'm not putting any, like, if I can, as long as I'm happy, healthy, enjoying myself, I'm going to keep going.
Did you feel weird walking into a tournament without like a tennis bag and just knowing that you're there for commentary if you're doing like TV work?
I secretly hate it. Like,
I know, it's so... Yeah, you feel so out of place. You're like, wait, what is happening right now?
I think once I really call it, and if that's, my next chapter, I think I will enjoy it because it will be clear. But now when I'm still a player, and then once I lose, I start doing this, I feel this like sense of, okay, it's fun doing something different, but it's like, man, I want to be there, So it's a bit like tough.
Your routines are you're so used to the routine of a player. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. And I'm not very good at it too. So like, it's fun to do something you're not great, like very good at yet, because I'm learning a lot.
You
which
are
is fun.
though. Yeah. But you have a very natural way of speaking and, your experience, sharing your experiences. So that's great. That's what people want to hear.
I agree. And I want to talk more about sort of that side of your life. But before we get to that, I have one more tennis question. You are known for many things. And as we've mentioned, you've played some of your best tennis on the biggest stages. And nowhere was that more clear than at the US Open in 2022, when you became the last person to beat Serena Williams on Arthur Ashe Stadium. I mean, I can't even imagine what it was like walking out there for that match. But Ajla, the question here is, she might be coming back. How do you feel about maybe not being the last person to beat Serena Williams?
Yeah, my time in the history books lasted 4 years. I'll take it. I mean, what can I do? But I'm just happy that if she, look, she's coming back, because you don't get on that list if you're not.
Of course.
Let's be honest. Whether it's for singles, doubles, whatever. But I think for tennis, it's awesome. And you know what? The fact that she believes she can win a slam, which it makes me think like, wow, I want to see like, it's going to be exciting again, Tennis needed something more. I don't know. So it's cool.
Yeah. The fact that she takes on that challenge is like cool to watch.
I do hope I don't play her again, though, because I don't want to go through that again. Not an Arthur Ashe.
No, that was, yeah.
What were the nerves like in that match?
It's such a blur. I don't even remember. I just remember like thinking that, you know what? Screw this. This is my moment to have never made the fourth round in US Open. And I don't really know what to expect, but like there was a bit of that anger, which I really liked about myself. I'm usually a bit more like let's play, but it did bring out this bitchiness in me, even if it couldn't show, but it was like, I'm here too. And I just played probably the most measured match mentally in my career. I look back now, I'm like, how did I do it? Because I feel crazy sometimes.
And very interesting to hear, I feel like, right? Do you feel like you've been able to get back to that once you felt that? Have you been able to revive that kind of emotion in other matches, or was it because of the situation, because of the moment, that you were able to get into that space?
Yeah, I think once the match started, I think I threw a few come-ons like in the first set, and I saw like the backlash, and I was like, whoa, okay, this won't work today. Like, I think I'm going to have to go into my shell a bit and just focus. So I think being in the match, experiencing it firsthand, I think is what got me to be like, okay, this is how it's going to be today. I don't think going into it was what I had. I didn't have a plan really. I just knew that it's probably going to be crazy. But now, like a couple of years ago when I felt like really anxious on court, I often try to go back to those moments, that whole US Open where I just was really good mentally, staying in my zone and really letting points go if it didn't go my way. And I don't know, like, yeah, it's funny. Even in matches now, I'll think back to that and be like, just channel that, but it's not as easy.
Well, in Australia, Ajla, I happened to see Eva Lise walking through the player hallways. She was all dressed up, and I said, "What you doing?" Because she had already lost there, and she said, "I had my interview with Ajla for Tennis Channel today." So she was on your show, Love Ajla. So if you guys have not checked out Love Ajla, which I love that it's called Love Ajla and we're Love All. I feel like we could feel like a Love All, yeah. Anyway, okay, but. I chuckled in my own head. But one of the things that you asked her, one of the clips that they put out from that interview, you said, "I know your DMs must be popping." And when I saw that, all I thought to myself is, I want to say the same thing to Ajla. I know your DMs must be popping. What goes on in the DM world for Ajla Tomljanovic?
Because we're too old. We don't know any of that stuff. Like
we're that ship has sailed.
It's more fun when you're asking others about their DMs. You know what? They're popping not in the right way though. Like they're popping, but like I want them to pop like with different people, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't know. I sometimes look because there's a lot of hate too, so I don't always look at what there is. But I'm not gonna lie, I've met a few people through DMs that I've never met in real life, and that's I think fun and the power of social media. But I'm not. I don't know. I'm not as brave as I sound when I'm asking others about it.
No, that's fair enough. But it's an interesting question though. Just, I mean, we've watched you have, and Kim sort of has a similar backstory where she had also very public relationships in the tennis world. I cannot imagine what that would be like. I feel like that stuff is tough enough to navigate when you have no extra eyeballs. What has that been like for you? What have you learned from that process? Because not only was it in the headlines, but you guys were on the Netflix Break Point. It was out there. And then there's a breakup. And how do you deal?
Well, when you're young and naive, is
Right.
I guess you don't think about like breakups when you're in a relationship. Like you don't think about that because everything's rosy and great. And you're like, oh, please, that won't happen to me. Yeah, like I'll cross that bridge when I get there. And then the bridge comes and you're like, oh, that maybe wasn't the greatest call. But look, looking back, yeah, if I had a daughter, I'd probably be like, listen, maybe date outside of your sport because most likely it won't work out. The odds are stacked against you. But look, it was my journey. I think I learned a lot. I grew thick skin. And I mean, years later, I'm like the easiest person to joke around. I live with my parents that have no filter. And like, it's like, even right after the breakup, they're throwing jokes and it's fine. Like, it's part of life. I think there are nice moments as well. So it is what it is. It's not that, it's not that serious at the end. It's my 20s.
You're right. There must be something with dads that like played like sports professionally, like who are so laid back and like can joke about all that. Cause it sounds so similar to how like I grew up at home and the jokes and the teasing and the sarcasm, and you just have to deal with it. And it is what it is. Like, that kind of makes it all feel a little lighter after all. So good for your dad.
Yeah. My mom's probably a little more serious about it.
Kim was telling me that what did you say, Kim, about the combined events versus
Oh yeah, they were like when I was younger. Like I was like the combined events are exciting because I get to see my boyfriend and like because we don't get to see each other. And then when you guys break up, it's like, how can I avoid these? I hate these combined events.
I don't know if this happened to you, but like when I was not dating a tennis player, I loved my time for myself. Like I was like, oh my God, okay, if my relationship worked out, and it was the end all be all, great. But I look at now some of the couples and I'm like, ooh, when I finish a match, I love just going back to my hotel, not trying to coordinate schedules, not having to sit there for 5 hours because the match can go on for that long. Not thinking about, ooh, where are you going to eat dinner here? Like, no, it's all about me. When I start dating someone too, it's when they come see me, I'm the boss. So like,
Right.
I just love that part.
Right. I think I've pissed off coaches and like probably my dad too, like where I should have gone played somewhere. Like I should have added a tournament, but I was like, no, I'm gonna go to the men's tour and go cheer and go be a supportive girlfriend. And my dad was like, what are you doing? Like this is your career. Like be independent. Like I'm like, okay, I get it now. Like I have a daughter, but that moment of like having your own time, to me hit really hard after I had Jada. Like I played one tournament without having her at the event that was in Doha, the end of the year, the WTA finals, and yeah, I was like, what did I do with my time before I had her? Like, what was I doing in my room? Like just watching TV, tennis on TV,
Yeah.
reading? Like, what was I doing? And so it's, that alone time is probably something I crave now more than ever.
Well, that's the same. I'm very close with Belinda Bencic. Like when we go to dinner together, she's like, and we're finishing. She's like, guys, it's my night off. Let's have more
Let's do
fun.
something fun.
We're like, girl, it's over.
That's amazing. She's like, let's go to the club.
Yeah.
So funny. Well, that's really interesting to hear that side of things, Ajla. But because you are now like, we'll call you honorary media member until you're an official media member. I have no doubt that will happen and you will be extremely successful when you want to fully go that route. But I would love to throw out some names, Kim, as well, of current players that you have faced, and have you tell us what makes them so effective on the court. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right, let's start with Aryna Sabalenka.
Oh, you know what? I haven't played her since she's been dominating for the last few years, but I called her match courtside against Mboko, and it was just, what was so impressive was, first of all, the fact that even if she misses 2 balls, she keeps going the same way after it. And it clicked. I was like, okay, yeah. So it's that champion's mentality. The belief never wavers. And then that second ball after she serves, like the second ball, she's the best at it. I mean, because, Vicky hit some amazing returns and you would be either put on the defense or you would even miss it. And she either neutralizes or actually goes even harder. So you never really get her off balance. Like you really have to almost, I kept watching. I was like, what can Vicky do better? And it's like, well, nothing, just play much, much better at that level. So I do think, obviously she didn't win Australian Open, but it feels like she is a bit of she's a player right now where we look at it and there's all this conversation, be like, what is she doing better than everyone else to like close that gap,
Question. Do you look at when you're commentating, do you look at it as a player? Like, do you feel like, oh, I want to know this, I want to look at this, or I'm picking up things as a player that I know I can use? Like, there's moments that when I started commentating after I retired that I felt like, ooh, if I would have known this, when you like body language, little like moments of doubt that you can see when you're, sitting in the back of the court, things that we don't get to see when you're on the opposite side of the net. I was like, oh, Serena, like you can see sometimes like the doubt in her eyes if she's, or, and the same with Sabalenka, like we can see that on TV, but a lot of times when you're standing across the net from her, you don't see that. So as a player, sometimes it's really good to remind yourself that even those top players will have moments where they're in doubt or where they're not feeling as comfortable, but you just don't see that, when you're worried about your own side of the court and your level and your tactics and all that. So did you feel like you've picked up on things where you say like, oh, this is interesting. Like I want to kind of store that and take that with me when I go back out there playing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, now when I do that, I still look at it so much as a player. What can I learn? Especially, for example, I've never played Mboko, even in practice. And I feel like if I were to maybe go player, I have an idea what her game is like. And even, she's so measured, her demeanor. And with Aryna, I mean, yeah, didn't pick up too many weaknesses in that match, at least. But the thing is, you see that they're all human. And you look, it got to a breaker. She was in control for a set and a half, and then it gets to a breaker, and you see that, it's the tensions are constantly high. So it definitely, calling matches like that helps me so much in my tennis, and I still view it. I don't know if I'll ever, hope probably years later, I'll view it more as a just commentator, but for now, it's definitely like, oh, what does she do well? What is the other person doing that's hurting her? What's not working? So I do look at it like that, and maybe it helps my commentating as well.
For sure. What about Coco Gauff? Give me your thoughts.
Coco, I mean, I love her mentality. Like, I think we forget she's only, what is she, 21? Is she even legal yet? And we don't put her in that category anymore because she's been at the top of our sport for years now. And that pressure that everyone puts on her is kind of ridiculous, because I think her number, she's a 2-time Grand Slam champion, right? Did I get that right? I don't know. Is it 2?
Yes.
Yeah. And when you play her, she's someone that you really got to beat her, because she's never gonna go away. If let's say she's not having the best day, tennis wise, she's so athletic that she's gonna make you have to earn it just based off of her athleticism. And not many players have that. I played her, in US Open. I thought I played a pretty good match, much better than I thought it. I didn't go into it thinking I had the greatest shot. And, she's struggling with the serve, but even like double faulting so much, she still made the quarters. It's like the mental strength it takes to do that. People underestimate it,
Samsonova.
Oh. I asked Kim who she wanted to throw out today. She's like, I'm going to look it up. Okay. Love this.
Probably, yeah. One of the biggest hitters on tour. I mean, it's 100%. I think I played her in that 2022 year twice in the US Open series. I lost to her in Washington, and then I won at the US Open. But I remember thinking, if you just hang in with her, she can have matches where she goes on a roll and is just sometimes too good. But with her, it does sometimes feel like if you weather the storm and put in a little bit of variety, it's what can hurt her. But she's been one of those players that I'm sometimes thinking like, oh, well, can she consistently do that? And she has been. So, she definitely belongs in that, for sure, obviously top 20 range, but also I think she does have the ability to go very deep in slams, which I don't know if she's ever made a semi yet, but I think that the slams are where she sort of for now hasn't excelled, but except Wimbledon.
But it's very interesting because like the slams can be, the fact that it is a 2-week kind of period can be very heavy mentally as well for a lot of players, right? Like when you're, always switched on and in that tennis mode and you're focused, and that 2-week period can be a long kind of time with the pressure, with, the intensity that it comes with it. And then when you're supposed to play some of your best towards the end stages can sometimes be that little breaking point for a lot of people. So interesting. Like she's the player to me that I think has all the qualities, right, to push, like you said, maybe get to that semifinal. And interesting for all of us, I think, to see.
There's a bit more pressure on these seeds when you go into, because now I think it really doesn't matter what number you have in front of your name. Everyone comes in and there's no good draw. Like you got to play well from the get-go. And I think maybe some of these seeds are sometimes under more pressure than the non-seeded players, because they feel like they should make it to the second week. Whereas maybe you're unseeded. You don't go into feeling like I need to beat Samsonova if I'm 60 and she's 18 or whatever.
Right. Yeah, for sure. That has definitely changed in our sport. Like when people ask me like, what are the biggest differences? I feel like in the early 2000s, everybody like in the media room, like fans, like it was like you could pencil in almost like all the quarterfinalists, like basically, right? And now like that has definitely changed a lot, and we see a lot more, upsets and really close matches from the beginning. Whereas I feel like in the early 2000s there was still a big gap. A lot of players would win. The seeded players would win very easily. Maybe once in a while there was like an upset, but not as frequently as we see it now, which is great for the sport.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
What do you think? Like, do you think the depth is stronger now, or do you think the top is weaker than when you? I mean, you played through many, like you even like many,
Generations.
yeah, generations. But what I never really know the right answer to that because I haven't. And I personally think that I'm a much better player now than I was in my early 20s. But then I do sometimes hear these comments that, you know, the top isn't as strong as it used to be, but the depth is. So what do you think, having played?
I feel like the depth is definitely stronger. I do think that the level, I think the level is different, and I feel like the tennis is different. I think back in the day, you didn't have as many hard hitters, right? You didn't have as many players that grew up watching Venus and Serena, and you know, I think probably Venus more than Serena, but Serena has the all court, you know, she has everything, right? The serve. A lot of players kind of had to step in. I remember playing Lindsay Davenport for the first time, being like, holy moly, like she hits the ball so hard, she hits the ball so deep. Like, what can I do to this? To like, I need to get fitter. I need to, you know, take my racket back a little bit sooner, like just to be able to compete in the rally with her. But I do think that the depth has gotten better because kids that were watching that generation know that there's only one way to win and be consistent is to play an aggressive type of tennis. And then if you can have that aggressiveness, but then add, you know, a net game, if you can add, you know, the backhand slice where you can kind of add a little bit of variety, you know, everybody's fit now, right? Like there's everybody, we all have seen the intensity or the shift in, you know, how many players are traveling with their own physio these days, right? Like that wasn't the case with their own fitness coach. When I started on tour, that wasn't the case. There was maybe 3 or 4 people that had the luxury to be able to do that. But now, like, it's such a norm that players have 4 or 5 team members, and you know, they have the physio and they have their own fitness coach and things like that. So it's the players have gotten fitter. They hit the ball heavier, I think, than maybe not that the top players back then, but the general depth of it. I do feel like the level has definitely gotten stronger.
Do you think like someone like, for example, I always think about this, like Radwanska, she played very different. Do you think she would, I mean, this is such a dumb question for me, but be as good? Like, would that game style survive in today's powerful hitting?
I think it could, because a lot of players don't have the answers to deal with that. She loved that pace. She loved hitting against the hard hitters. That's where she got her pace from. If you let her play against somebody who likes to hit the loopy balls and somebody who slices and adds a lot of variety, that was not what she liked. Like, she wants you to, you know, where she can just take the racket back, that low kind of short backswing, and just counterpunch. She was a great mover. She could anticipate really well. Didn't have a strong serve. Weak second serve, where if I played her, I was like, okay, I have to attack the second serve. But she loves that speed, right? Like, she loves the players that hit the ball hard. And these days, I feel like, you know, not a lot of players like hitting against these hard players because it takes away their strength and the control, right? Their own dominance on court. And that's, I think, what you see with the best now. If you saw at the Australian Open, Sabalenka against Rybakina, it's like it all comes down to, okay, who's able to keep the unforced errors down, but is in charge early on in the rally. Like you said, Sabalenka, that second shot is so important, but that gets taken away by Rybakina because she's such a good server on first and second serve. And so she, you know, makes you lose a little bit of lose your strengths that give you that confidence that you gain throughout a match when you're able to, you know, stack up on points like that. And so it's very interesting. You know, the game has definitely changed.
It's
overall.
Like who can assert themselves first with that aggressive game. Because even Aryna doesn't like if you press her.
No, of course
it's like
not.
Who can do that?
Because you take
first.
their strength away, and that's when, you know, the mental side of it starts playing a role too. I feel like there's no way, like if you're a young girl growing up, if you have the physical capabilities, right, to do it, is to play aggressive, but then develop early on the skill to be able to come into the net and like use the slice on a far wide backhand, like, and just really, really use that as, a tool, right? To kind of break the rhythms a little bit of the opponents that love that like one-way rhythm all the time.
Yeah, 100%. And I think watching Aryna, like you actually see how much spin she puts on the ball. It's actually not flat.
No. And she has a huge backswing too, so she can really get under it. It's like for like say like a Ravanska with her technique, it was a lot harder to get a lot of topspin because she has such a short kind of flat backswing. But Sabalenka actually on both sides is able to have that heavy ball, but also at the same time step in and hit a really flat ball. And so she has that variety that she can really use too. And you have that too, though. Like you can hit a heavy topspin ball, but you can also really hit it flat when you want to step in or when you're playing somebody.
Reminded about about clearing the net.
Yeah, girl.
There's another.
But it's all part of it.
But I think it was a great point what you said that I never really heard before is that everyone now trains that way to be aggressive, whereas like you just don't see many players being not heavy hitters or training that way.
Ajla, before you leave us, we had some breaking news come in while we were chatting, and that's that the Credit One Charleston Open is going to be awarding record prize money, an unprecedented $2.5 million to players, and that's for a WTA 500 tournament. So people have to keep that in mind, that there are different prize money levels for different levels of tournament. But I'm curious, as a player throughout your career, what have you seen in terms of the way women's tennis is trending, the opportunities for women's tennis players, the compensation for women's tennis players, and where can it still improve?
Well, I don't know if you're asking the right person, just because like growing up, I never really knew like even how much money I made until like the end of the year comes and my dad's doing my tax and he's like, these are your expenses. This is how much you made. So I think since I've become an adult, I had to get a bit more involved. And I saw that like trend of, the prize money from my first time I played a main draw of a slam to now, I mean, incredible. And that's when you see like really the growth in women's tennis and just women's sports. I think we must be leading in women's sports, like just with, sort of equality compared to the men. And, to read this, I mean, I'm not surprised just because Ben Navarro has always been, pushing the envelope for women's tennis. And with Charleston, first of all, even if the prize money wasn't this, that's always been a stop on the tour that I would never miss. Also partly because I can bring crews.
Nice.
But even with Cincinnati, like, and doing that, I think it shows other tournaments, okay, like this is sort of, the trend. And if you want to follow and it gets the conversation going. And I think that's where change can slowly happen. So, I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, I wish I was 20 right now that I can keep playing for another 10 years.
You can.
You sure can, girl.
Yes.
You can go to mid-40s. That envelope is being pushed every day. But I think that's such cool perspective.
Blair, years ago, somebody brought to my attention that I never played Charleston because it was just after Indian Wells, Miami. Like I wanted to go back home and just play, like prepare for the red clay court season.
She was winning those tournaments.
No, it was more like,
tell me, Blair. I know.
It was purely like, listen, I know that, it takes me a while to get used to like my movement on clay. Like I want to put a good training period in before I start playing my matches. That was the mindset behind it. And then like a few years after I retired, I think, somebody came up to me. He's like, that you are the only number one who's never played Charleston. I was like, wait, what?
Crime.
I'm so sorry. I did not know that. So
that's wild.
And I hear so many great stories about the tournament and it looks amazing on TV. So I, definitely might have to just take, a little drive and go visit. And
they bring in former players every year, though. They do a great job of bringing in former players for chats and ambassadorships and all the things. It's not too late, Kim.
Oh, yeah. Just need my Achilles to get better if I want to be on court.
I know. But Ajla, this has been such a pleasure. As Kim and I said, as we were preparing for this, we're like, the problem is going to be that we could talk to her for hours. So how are we going to narrow it down? We certainly could have talked for much longer, but we so appreciate your time today.
Can I just say one thing?
Please.
Because my 10-year-old would never forgive me. I don't know if you know this, Blair. I've told this Kim, but she maybe forgot. But I never had like a favorite player growing up, but Kim was always someone that I like watched. And when she played all those finals with Justine Henin, it was just like surreal to me once I came on tour. And Kim was one of those that, like, you know, when you meet someone you've watched and then they exceed your expectations meeting him, that was Kim. And I think, yeah. So this is really very cool for me, just because even though now I'm older, I still don't forget those things. So what an honor that just to, you know, be on the pod and know you personally. So,
there you go.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Oh my gosh. That's like my serotonin boost for the day. That's so sweet.
Yeah. I'm ready for a workout.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, let's have an in-person reunion. If you need to ask anyone else about her DMs, Kim will come on Love Ajla. I am volunteering her as tribute.
Yeah, maybe someone should interview me so I can show my DMs. No, we don't need that. We don't need that.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, I don't know, old. I don't, like Blair made me do a TikTok like a few weeks ago. I was like, TikTok? I'm like, Blair, I don't even have the app. Like, what are we doing? Like,
Ajla, does the world not need more Kim Clijsters TikToks?
No,
I tried to get her to do a second one and she declined. And I said, Kim, this is just part of the life of a podcaster.
Yeah, no.
No, this is what they love, is the people that didn't grow up with it doing them.
Well, on that note, Ajla giving us life advice, TikTok
Thanks,
advice,
Ajla.
all the things. This has been so much fun. Thanks.
Best to your family. Have a good practice.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
That was such a good conversation. We record this in the morning. I cannot think of a better way to have started my day. She's just the best.
Yep. She's great.
It's so much fun. Kim, before we part ways for the day, and I know you have to go, but I cannot leave without mentioning, well, I'm going to give you a chance to redeem yourself. Your served bracket challenge during the Australian Open. I just want to say thank you so much because as a Hall of Famer,
making you look better.
You can come in last and it's okay. If I come in last, it's like, who's this Yahoo who has no idea what she's talking about? So I just want to say thank you so much for being slightly less good at that. I'm sure come Roland Garros, you'll be at the top of the leaderboard, but
no, don't be sure. Don't be sure.
But in Dallas this week, Kim, can we do a mini bracket challenge? Do you have any predictions for Dallas?
I think I need to stick a little bit more to like the numbers. And I did look, I saw there was like 17 Americans in the draw. So more than half. So I'm going to pick an American to win the tournament. Was it Shapovalov who won last year? He's Canadian, right? So I'm not going to go with him as a defending champion, but I'm going to go with the number 2 seed Ben Shelton as the winner.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Oh, good. I thought we were just going to play the percentages there.
I get really bored with these long draws. Like at the Australian Open, I was at the hairdresser and I was like, all right, let's just go.
You doing your bracket?
Yes.
Amazing. Well, that's that you were distracted, Kim. It was the
No,
fumes.
I wasn't. It's bored. No, it's bored. I picked Samsonova as the winner. Not a bad choice. I was like, I'm going to risk it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go with the obvious. And I don't like to gamble in real life, but I like to gamble with those kind of things. Because I'm like, let's see who, guess
For
it didn't work out too well.
Hilarious.
Who won it eventually? Was it Andy?
It was Andy. Yeah. Oh. Andy, John, me, and you. So we gotta do better at Roland Garros. But we'll see how you do. I'm glad we're just keeping those bracket muscles working here at the Dallas Open this week.
And I'm glad that mine are not shared to the public because I wouldn't want people to actually like bet on my calls or on my bracket.
They may have learned their lesson.
Yes, please don't.
But I cannot wait to see how things shake out this week. This has been so much fun. Love talking to you, Kim. Love talking to
Same, Blair. Thank you.
Ajla. You can check us out every Wednesday with a new episode. Make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us at Love All Podcast on all of the socials, and we will see you next week.